JENNCASCELL here. I am back with another design team project share and tutorial for Scrap Diva Designs. So last month I made this gorgeous lantern using the lantern mini album that came out. I promised you guys a tutorial and I needed a Christmas card, so I wanted to do this really quickly. This obviously is a Christmas card, so here's the interior. Love, love, love. And this, it's more than a Christmas card. It's a keepsake. Like I would hope that somebody wouldn't throw this away when they got it, but I hope. But I was thinking, like, you could even hang this on the tree as an extra large ornament. You could put it in an easel as part of your Christmas decor. Super, super pretty. The one thing that I didn't do with this, and I don't even know what happened. I was just deep in craft mode and I totally forgot about it, but I really wanted to light this up. And I had already put the front panel on and I didn't want to, rip everything up to put the lights in it. So I made sure to do it on this one. So this is the 2.0 version. Different color scheme, absolutely gorgeous. I did use fairy lights in here. And when I do the tutorial, please keep in mind that your measurements for the card may change depending upon what lights you're using. If you use like Chibitronics or something like that, which are generally really flat and don't have like an actual battery pack, your measurements won't change at all. And I actually have fairy lights, and I'll show you my battery pack, which I have on the interior of the card right here. So my battery pack is pretty flat, and I based the card measurements on this battery pack. So obviously, if you're doing something a little different, your measurements are going to change, and I'll explain that in the tutorial how you would accommodate something a little larger per se. But I just did some gorgeous floral clusters on the front. I ended up not using a sentiment on this one. With this one, I put the sentiment at the top, but I figured it was going to cover up some of the lights and everything, so I kept the sentiment off this one. And the floral clusters are so big, you don't really need one, but I did some Scrap Diva flowers, some pine cones, some greenery sprigs. The bows, I just did wire bows. This is a trim from Prima that I got quite some time ago, and it's just like a white wired thread that I like to do for my floral clusters. Sometimes you just don't need a big heavy bow like this right here. I mean, this is where it's at, right? You want to see the floral on here. Yeah, I'm getting snow paste like all over my hands because it's still wet. I just finished the tutorial, so forgive me. But I did a really fun faux metal, like hammered metal finish on this. So yes, it is paper. I'm going to link a tutorial for the faux hammered metal finish that I did. I actually did this finish quite some time ago for Barely Art, and it's really easy to do, and it gives such a good impact. I mean, you can't even tell that's paper. It's really cool. So if you want to try that, check the description box. I'll have a link. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So I'm not going to labor too intensive on that. I'm just going to show you how I put the lantern together, the card component, and my measurements for the card, obviously, as well as how I did the lights on the interior. The die set also comes with these really cool candles that I used. It does have this Merry Christmas sentiment that I used on this as well. So if I've inspired you in any way, please feel free to use my coupon code JEN10 to save at the shop. I super appreciate everyone who uses my coupon code and affiliate link. I do get a small kickback, and it helps me continue to create free content for you guys. And I can't remember if I showed you the website, so I'm going to show you the website and all of the info on the back. make sure to use that hashtag Scrap Diva Designs for some amazing inspiration. So if you are interested in the tutorial, stay tuned. So let's go through the components that we're going to need. I started out with this die here. So this is my background die, and I've cut it 3 times and I've already glued it together. So I wanted to make sure that it was double-sided. You could get away with just doing this once or twice, but I really wanted to make this more of a keepsake than a card. So I'm really going to take the time to layer it up and make it super sturdy. Then I am going to cut this middle portion 3 times. So it's going to be this die right here. And one of those, I have cut out the middle. So I just have this frame. I have also cut out 2 of this right here. This is going to be your layering piece for this section here. I've also cut the top twice as well, and then twice on this little rectangle at the bottom. I will note that I am using 110-pound cardstock. So once again, trying to make it super, super sturdy. I've also cut 3 of these candles out. Now the candles, you have these flames right here, and then you have the candles themselves, 2 of each size. So I have cut them twice, layered them together, and then for the flame portion, I cut off the flame on this first one, and then I use some alcohol ink to create the flame itself, and then I went over it with a bit of tea dye distress ink on the sides. So you can kind of see them a little closer here. I popped everything up with some foam. I did 2 of the tall and then 1 of the short ones. Give you a little side view of that. All right. In addition to, you're going to want to cut your card. So I started, this is a piece of 4 by 9 cardstock. I scored it at 4 3/8 and again at 4 5/8. I've already placed my pattern paper in the center. So I just left, I took 1/8 of an inch off. So your layering pieces are going to be 3 7/8 by 4 1/4 for both sides. And then I did this little stamp thing here. And then I did some gold snowflakes. And then this is just ephemera from the collection that I used one of the Scrap Diva circle dies to place behind it. I wanted that little pop of red so that it stood out. I knew the pattern paper that I was using was pretty similar to this, so I just wanted that little extra oomph. And then you're also going to need a piece of pattern paper for the front of your card. Now, I did not leave a border with this. I cut it the exact same size. So you want this pattern paper to be 4 by 4 3/8. Now, we are going to start with creating the card, which is by far the hardest part of this lantern. So I have my first layering piece. I have this crossbar right here, and I'm just going to glue these directly together. And once again, if you just want to make a cute card, you don't have to do this portion. You can make this as easy as you want it to be. I want to go ahead and add it to the front of my card. Now that I have everything glued together, I'm going to go ahead and take my hole punch. I am just using, I believe this is a 1/8 of an inch hole punch. And I'm going to punch a hole right in this left-hand bottom corner. You don't need a big hole for this. Now, I should note, with the fairy lights that I am using, I don't have a very large battery pack. So your measurements could change depending upon how thick your battery pack is. You just want your card to accommodate your battery pack. And that's how I figured mine out. I wanted mine to be 1/4 of an inch, so I added 1/4 of an inch. Obviously, if your battery pack is a little thicker, you may have to bump this up to a 1/2 inch or so. But this is what I have, and you can adjust it based on yours. So I'm going to take my fairy lights and just start threading them through that hole. And once again, I used an 1/8 of an inch hole punch because the lights that I'm using are quite small. If you have larger lights, then you're going to want to use those. So I have my fairy lights threaded through, and now I am just left with the battery pack on the inside of the card. And I'm just going to secure that with, don't come at me, I'm just going to use hot glue. I know it's probably not the safest thing, but I'm just using just a tiny little dab of glue on there. And I want to make sure that I have enough of a border between the battery pack and the sides of my card. Just because we're going to be using some foam strips. Now I can start adding my foam strips. So I'm using Barely Art's 1/4 of an inch, and I am just going to I'm going to line everything up on this edge and go all the way around the card. Now, if you don't have foam strips, you could certainly just cut down your own foam if you wanted to. If you had like 1/8 of an inch, or if you had like 8 by 11 sheets. Now that I have my foam all the way through, I'm going to go ahead and grab the second crossbar and go ahead and place that right on top. Just once again, we're taking our time to really build these layers to create a nice finished sturdy piece. Now I'm just going to start weaving the lights in. I am going to go ahead and just a tiny bit of hot glue. I am not doing hot glue along the entire thing. I just want little dots of it so that I can use them as an anchor. I'm going to grab that corner. That would be a good anchor. And then just use your bone folder to bring that wire in. You obviously do not want to shove a light in the corner. So if you have to, kind of curl it or something. All right, so I have my fairy lights going all the way around. Once I made that full circle, I didn't go any further. I'm actually just going to try like bunching them up in the center, but I wanted to make sure that it has like a lit from within look. So you're going to put on your second layer of foam. We're going to make sure this girl is thick. All right, so I have my foam on. I've grabbed my candles. Now, I know that I'm going to want them a little taller. I'm going to start off with this one right here and just add it with some hot glue. However, I am going to raise it up just a little bit. I'm going to put it in that corner. I'm not putting it all the way down just because I want it a little taller. But this one, let's raise this one up a little bit. So I'm going to go in with just some thin foam. This one I am going to bring it down right to the bottom. Okay, add this at the top. I'll just put that right there. Let's see if that lifts it up properly. Yeah. There we go. Perfect. All right, so I went ahead and I finished placing all of my lights around the perimeter of our little box area. Now, I did not, I wasn't exact about it by any means. It's going to look really good, and I've double checked them before adding my top on. I just wanted to make sure that these lights are spaced properly. So let's take these off. Now, if you wanted to make this a shaker, you could add some acetate on top of this. Since I'm just adding lights, I didn't really find that necessary. Now you can go ahead and add a piece of paper to go around this whole thing if you wanted to. Totally up to you. I might. Let's see how it looks when I put it all together. But we have our card completed. Now it's just kind of smooth sailing from here. I'm going to bring my background in, and then I have all of my lantern components over here. Still sticking with these strips, but I'm going to do smaller ones this time around. So for these, I am going to use the 1/8 of an inch strips, and I'm going to start by putting this one down here. Now, I really kind of want to build this up once again, so I'm going to start with some of my leftover 1/4 inch strips. And then once again, I am going to take that second one, but this time I'm only using 1/8 of an inch strip. So layer that right on top, make sure everything is lined up. Now I am going to move over to this piece here. This time I am just using the 1/8 of an inch strips for this. All right, so I went ahead and took the liner strips off my foam, and I'm going to once again build up. And then my last one, I'm just going to add some glue to the back of my first piece and put that directly down. And once again, using 1/8 of an inch strips, we're going to layer that top. Now we can add our card to the front here. So cute, you guys. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to use liquid glue for this. And then just pop that right in the center between the bottom layer and the top. Make sure that you have everything centered properly. So I'm going to go ahead and add a cute little decorative treatment to this. I have a really fun technique for doing like a faux metal. So I'm going to go ahead and get this treatment done, and I'll be right back. You check out the original tutorial for that, and if you want to try it for yourself. All right, so it's the next morning. I've let this dry overnight, and this is how my faux hammered metal finish turned out. Once again, if you want an in-depth tutorial on how I did this, I will link my video in the description box. That video also has a great tutorial on how I do my fake snow during this time. Really, really cute. But I have pulled some of the things that I'm going to use for this. I do want to do a sentiment. I haven't really quite decided yet. I want to see how my floral cluster looks before I figure out what sentiment that I'm doing. And I'm also grabbing this trim. I did this trim on my original one, and I did a cute little bow at the top. I also added in some of Scrapaholics chipboard for my base layers. I don't know if I'm going to do that this time around. I actually pulled some snowflakes for this, so we'll see when I get to it. But I am going to decorate this up and I will be right back. Okay, so she's done. Let's take a close look. So pretty. And let's see the inside real quick. My snow paste is still wet and I see that I'm getting it on my hands, but really pretty. Close it. And here she is all lit up. So pretty. Love, love, love. Let's take a closer look one more time at my original. Really pretty. Here. So thank you so much for watching. Um, I truly appreciate all of the love and support. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, which one is your favorite. And once again, if I've inspired you in any way, please feel free to use my coupon code JEN10 to save at the shop. I do get that small kickback and it helps me continue to do this for you guys. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more crafty content. I'll see you in the next crafty video. Bye!